Hi, I'm just getting the tractor ready for winter, putting chains on it. A few years ago I bought chains for all four tires, heavy duty chains for it, and I'm just putting them all on today. I'll put the shoes on the front bucket and I'll put the rear blade on. These chains, let's get a closer look. It's so nice having a loader on a bucket to raise the front tires up. It makes putting these front chains on so much easier. Now these chains for the tractor are heavy duty, and when I bought them there were several different types you could get. The regular chains will just go across this way, which really aren't any good for tractors because the chains will just fall in between the lugs and you won't get any traction out of it. These type, which have this pattern in the middle so the cross chains won't fall in between the lugs, and then you have another type of chain which has almost like metal barbs or teeth coming out of it, which were I think the most expensive, which I didn't need, you know, for what I do with it. These give me plenty of traction. I've used it for the past 3 or 4 years and they've worked great. Because the driveway does get pretty icy, and it's nice to be able to plow both, not only downhill but uphill as well with these. And the steering is so much better with the chains, and this is a four-wheel drive tractor. But without the chains I would not get any steering. Basically it's just really difficult to steer without them. Then you'd have to use the brakes, the independent brakes, more to steer, which just wears out your brakes further. So yeah, I got the chains for the front, works good. And I'm just putting them on today. Something else to point out, and it's even more noticeable with the rear chains once I get them on. I tend to leave the extra links. Let's see if I could find. Yeah, here's one. Here's the where you hook it up. There's one extra link on here. This is about as tight as I could get it right now. And I like to leave this extra link on here because I use this. I'll show you later. There's a binder that you use to help tighten up these chains to get them tighter, and sometimes by hand I can only get it onto this first link, and then I put the binder on and I can get it down to the second link or the third link. So I like to leave the extra chain on here. It's just easier to hook up by hand and then use the binder. And what I'll do later on is I'll just zip tie this on here so it's not flopping around. And now I'll put the springs that go in the front here to hold it tight, and I also put on the back, I haven't done it yet, the bungee cords all around it, which really helps to keep the chain on the tire. Otherwise, if you just spin the tire a little bit, the chains start to come off in this direction because the binder is only on here. The springs are only on the front here, and then over time the chains tend to creep off this way. So I like putting bungees on the back, and it really helps to stay on for the entire season. And I don't spin the tires, at least minimally I do anyway. That's about it. Okay, I'll bring this back on once I get the chain tensioners on there. So I did the other side, and now I'm going to put this side on. Something I always do when screwing around with chains and the tensioners and everything else is I wear safety glasses just in case one snaps off. Something else to mention is that you should put these on the correct way. Obviously this piece goes towards the outside, but you want the chains so this faces out and not in towards the tire. If it's facing in towards the tire, over time it puts pressure, the edges put pressure on the tire, and it could, I don't know, maybe puncture it or whatever. So I like to face these outside. There's the hook. Go around. you get the twist out of it, it'll sit a lot better and be less likely to spin off, and you'll be able to get it tighter. Pretty good. Try to get them fairly even. I hook up the back first with the hook. And I make sure the hook faces out away from the tire, so I don't have to worry about it puncturing the tire. Alright, back is on. Seems pretty loose. Let's see if I can get this tighter somehow. I don't think I can get it. Can't go on this. Well, the sun's a bit of a pain today. Make sure there are no twists. Making sure that these pieces are pretty much in the middle of the tire, so it's not being pulled in one direction and then eventually spin off. That's good. Pretty good. I tend to always start right where the chain connector is. Not that it matters. The first 2 or 3 are pretty easy to get on, then it starts tightening up. And this is why I wear safety glasses, just in case one of these ends breaks off, it'll hit me in the face. Doesn't have to be perfect, just, you know, barely close. Yeah, this one's a little too close here. So, I probably can't tell, but fairly even spacing over here. And over this side, it's fairly even. That's close enough. Now I'll throw the bungees on the back. Well, I'll put them on temporarily. I'll pick up more from Harbor Freight this weekend. The other thing I do when I put these on the back is, after I get them on, I make sure that they don't rub against any of the axle. Otherwise, they're just going to wear through and probably just get pulled off. And I face these hooks away from the tire. I'll just throw a knot in it. Shorten it up. So it has some tension. That's good enough. Rubs the axle, so we have to put it there. And I'll throw these ones that are dry rotted on just to until I get replacements this weekend. And that's done. Let's see if we get a better picture of that. Spring tensioners. Like I was saying, I like to have these ends face away from the tire. Take the twist out as I'm putting it on, and making sure these patterns are fairly close to the center of the tire. And you see here, the one bungee cord, I have the hooks facing away from the tire, otherwise they'll puncture the tire. And I make sure as it goes around, see, it just rubs that tie rod. The bungee just rubs that tie rod. But I'm going to replace that one anyway. I'm going to get new ones this week. And that's it. Now I'll start the back ones. Okay, the rear chains are extremely heavy because they're, I mean, just the difference in the tire size tells you it's very heavy to move around. And for a year or two, I was picking them up and throwing them over the tire. Man, what a struggle that was. So, what I did was, I drilled here. I drilled a 1/4 inch hole through the rim, because there's no other spacing on this rim. It's solid all the way around. 1/4 hole all the way through. And then what I do is I'll put string through the hole, like 3 feet long or whatever. Excuse me. And I'll tie each end of the string on each side to the chain, and then as I drive the tractor forward, it pulls the chain up and over the tire, and then I'll hook up the chain just like I did to the front, you know, the back first and then this side, and put the tensioners on. So much easier than lifting it up. What a nightmare pain in the ass that was, especially since you really can't toss the chain over this way because the fender's in the way. It was really difficult. And last year, I think it was, I bought spacers because our chains were just rubbing every once in a while on the inside here against the fender. So I bought spacers, and boy, that was took us, my brother-in-law and my nephew, about 3 or 4 hours to put both on, one on each side. They're only 1.5 inch spacers, but that's all I needed to clear the chain. And it also made the tractor altogether 3 inches wider, so it's slightly less tippy, which really worked out when I was doing some grappling work up on the hillside. And some other things to mention about the wheel spacer is the bolts. They come with a set of bolts, and you bolt through the wheel spacer into the axle here. But the original tightness on the bolts was like over 200 pounds per square inch, and the manufacturer of the wheel spacer says not to go above 140. If that's required, give them a call. I tried calling them several times. Horrible customer service. But eventually what I did was I just made it 140 psi to hold the wheel spacer onto the axle, and I use Loctite. And then I put witness marks on the back because you could see where the bolts come through, and then I could just see if it's ever loosening up, because I can't tell from the front because the wheel is blocking the bolts that hold on the wheel spacer. So I just put witness marks on the back, and then I can just visually see if it's ever loosening up. In that case, I'll have to take the tire off and everything else. But so far, it's been great. Both sides have not loosened up at all. So 1.5 inches to me is just right for my tractor. I didn't want to go wider because then I think it puts too much pressure on the axle because the tires will be so far out. And I don't think this tractor was made to do that. So 1.5 inches is just right for me on each side, so a total of 3 inches additional in width. So it makes it a little bit less tippy, and I get the clearance for the chains from the fender. So I put the string in through the hole, and this end is tied to this part of the chain here, and I made sure that this piece is facing out away from the tire, and as I drive the tractor forward, it's going to drag the chain up and over the tire. And this side, you can see I've got the string tied on over here as well. And I'll stop every couple of feet to make sure the chain is going on correctly and that it's centered over the tire. enough of that. The chain is twisting a little bit, so I gotta fix that. There. Okay. Good. All right. Sure that's not going to hit anything. Okay. All right. Gotta pull some more. It's on all the way. Now it's just a matter of hooking it up. Okay, so put the chain tensioners on. The first thing I do is I put one on the top, one on the bottom, just the opposite. Then I put this one on and this one on. They all go on by hand. Now these last two, we'll have to use this binder puller to get them on. I also make sure that for these, that they face out and not in toward the tire where they could puncture the tire. Again, you have to try to get them somewhat evenly spaced. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see, is this going the right way? Yeah, I think that's the right way. I think it is. Let's see. Put one on here. One goes on the chain. Let's say, let's see, maybe down over here, maybe. And we'll want it to go right about on that one. Alright, we'll try the other side first. Believe it or not, it does make putting them on a lot easier using this binder. Otherwise, you really can't get it tight. There we go. I see it's pulling on it. Almost enough, but not quite. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Yep. There we go. All right. We'll have to check it all again once I get this last one on, and see if it's tight enough. On it. Hopefully my head's not in the way. Yeah, that's tight enough. Take that a little bit lower. Try that one. Too close. Gotta go down over here. One, two, three. I really should have started right where I had the binder connector at over here. You know, I should have put this one on first and then space out the others to get it on right. But anyway, I'm going to fool with this for a little bit. And, you know, this is how you use the binder to get it on tighter. And that's it. And then I just chain up the ends with the zip ties so they don't, you know, shake around. Then I'll put the bungees on the back, just like I did the front. I'll make sure I'll have this chain tensioner centered more. And I'll do the other side, same thing. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. So one other thing to mention, when using this binder, let's see if I can get this the correct way. Yeah, I think that's it. When using this binder, you'll have this end hooked up on part of the chain here. This will be hooked up to the tensioner, and then you'll pull it tight. The handle should lock in, but know that this is under a lot of tension here, and if you accidentally hit the handle, it could release like that, and if this hits you in the jaw, it could break your jaw very easily. It's under tremendous tension, and if it lets go like that, it'll really do some damage to you. So just be careful when using this that you're not too close to this handle.